Ta-da! What's up, everyone out there in YouTube land? It's Rockin' Dave from North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. But where else would I be from? Well, other than my mom. Or Chicago. That's where we're originally from. So, thank you so much for joining the Rockin' Ibanez and Digitech Q&A. We're back again. Let's see, we got Metal X, we got Ben Coombs, we got Adam EVH, R2, R3 locking up. What's happening, brother? What is happening? We got JJ's House of Jams. Hey, JJ, what's happening? Jason Wade. I think, JJ, you were down in Cabo at the Cabo San Lucas, at the Cabo Wabo. Sounds great, my friend. It's a great place to be. Deb and I have been down there. It was a while back we were down there. So I got to go back and scroll through the chats. Let's see who's in. Yeah, I really appreciate everyone tuning in. I always like to, well, you know, give those bad boys, different than the Tone King, but I still respect the Tone King. And of course, my sponsors. I love doing this, you know. Sponsors by support from my wife and all of you. And what better sponsorship could you have, my friends? So, I definitely want to, let's see here, touch on what we did. I thank everyone for tuning in for our gig on Saturday. It was different than anywhere else. Oh, we got Metal X out there. If I haven't said hi to you, Metal X, give one of those rock and roll, my friends. Was actually, I think, our first weekend off all year down here. We were still working all weekends and during the weeks back up in Illinois. So we figured, let's go ahead and do something in our lanai and kind of set it up, which is kind of cool because this way I get to really set more of the fog machines and the lights and everything. And it actually helped give my vocalist Mike a break for the weekend. He had a few things he had to do, and which worked out for both of us, you know. But we're back in action tomorrow and Saturday. Definitely no Saturday and tomorrow, yeah. And then Friday, I'm at the restaurant playing my classical guitar. So I have sometimes people ask me, what am I using when let's say for Saturday, and for when I do these live chats on both Saturdays, my shredding Saturday, on, you know, during the day, and like for right now, I'm using my Roland. Of course, plugging the Ibanez, and you know, I really love this guitar, man. It's such a comfortable little guitar. It might not be anything special compared to what other people got out there. And then, you know, Ibanez, their AZ series, I think is phenomenal. What I like about it is, you know, it's not real expensive and it works. It stays in tune. I never have really issues with it. The only time I had issues when I throw it and my strap would break, but that's me. That's got nothing to do with the guitar. Big fan of Ibanez guitars because Ibanez was the very first good guitar. It was my third electric guitar I owned. Actually, third guitar period that I owned. And they happened to be all electrics. But it was my first good guitar, and it was 1979. I bought a used 1978 Ibanez Artist, and boy, I tell you what. Yeah, Ibanez does make great guitars, man. That's why I own 3, yeah. And of course, some people don't like Ibanez, and that's fine, you know. I'm not, all opinions are always welcome, you know. Arvon, how are you, my friend? You know, I'm gonna with the locking nut. Now, my Ibanez Artist series guitar did not have a locking trem. Later on, they did, and it was their version before they came out with the Edge tremolo system. But it was like a Les Paul style guitar, double cutaway, tri-sound switches, the whole works. Mr. Bruce, how you doing, my friend? Always good seeing you, Jim Dietrich. There's my rock and roll buddy from Louisiana, man. Yep. be doing some more of spotlighting your stuff. Jim Geetrid, yeah, it's really cool, man. I like doing it. I like doing that, and especially with the originals, because there's. I mean, covers are fun. We do a lot of covers, you know. But I do miss doing the originals, you know. That's why Saturday we did half and half, or maybe a little more. I got to look back to replay and kind of count it again, you know. But something real interesting. When we did, hey David, how you doing, my friend? Rock and roll, buddy. When we were recording and doing the live streaming, and then when we looked at the playback started more than a half hour into it. So again, they were going through the videos, because the whole beginning section I was using my BC Rich with the guitar synth. And I think YouTube was looking at it, say, okay, is this a cover song? Is there anything in here we got to shift through, and you know, things of that nature? And of course, it really wasn't. It was all my stuff. And I was saying in the live stream that I was a lot of you guys do the same thing too. I would imagine when we improvise, we'll improvise on familiar themes. And it's like all these different points of view are looking at these themes, you know, chord progressions. And I would have so many people ask me about the BC Rich, even though I'm trying to spotlight the Ibanez. But I mean, it is a pretty cool guitar, you know, I gotta admit. And we've had that since 2001. I don't want to stray too much far what I was gonna say about what I like about the locking nut system. At first I was not too much of a big fan of it, and then it was later on I started to realize my issues with breaking strings. I have a real strong picking hand. If you guys notice, very seldom I do the sweeps and very seldom I do the tapping. A lot of it is the picking, alternate picking, and that's because of doing so much acoustic stuff. And you know, my biggest influence, there's a lot of people that influence me. But if I were to say, Dave, no, you got to pick this one guitar player that really impacts you, it would be jazz fusion guitar great Al Di Meola. When I heard that guy, I knew it was not hammer-ons, pull-offs, and tricks. And I love the hammer-ons, pull-offs, and tricks. It was, yeah, it was really 100% right hand picking, man. And, you know, oh, yeah, Jason Wade, good seeing you too, buddy. I will tell Deb. Hello, she's in her office right now working, and she says she's waving to everybody. Of course, great Ben Coons. What more can I say, right? So, because of the locking system, the little part of maybe a 1/16 of an inch, well, I should say more than actually I should measure to be more precise, but it is a lot smaller of an angle going into that locking saddle than on a Strat or any type of through body, where you might have about maybe 1.5 to 2 inches. Now you start getting some play there. And also on the Les Paul, although what I like about my Les Pauls is that if I pop a string, I could pull it out and immediately thread another one. I got to bring my Gibson back out probably on Saturday's gig and do a couple numbers on that, because I do have my Gibson bridge, but I did replace it with a direct drop in Tone Pro, I think it is, roller saddles. So because I sweat and sometimes I'll do my palm muting and all that play, it's like this. When you do a lot of picking, right? If you do a lot of this, you know, eventually what's happening, the string is moving like that, or even worse. And I shouldn't say worse, but more where you could really notice it is if you're doing any type of rhythm like this. So the string is being constantly hit, and at some point there's gonna be some movement in that area, and factor in the heat and humidity down here in Florida, and then it just strings pop, you know. They don't pop on my acoustic that much at all, because the saddle is a hard plastic. On my Rodriguez guitar, the saddle and the nut is bone. But my nylon string guitars don't very seldom pop strings. Only time they'll pop strings is by the wound on the bass strings, because it's synthetic nylon and it's like a metal core wrapping around it. Yeah. So I think that's my theory on the locking bridge, why I've had such good luck with it. And, you know, it works, it stays in tune. When you play a lot, you sweat. I do like the matte finish. I like the way it looks. And, you know, and for, what, under 400 bucks, I think it was. You can't go wrong, you know. And it's not to say that I don't like my Gibson Les Paul. I love that guitar, you know. And, you know, high-end guitars, yeah. I mean, there's a reason why they're high-end. But when you do a lot of gigs and bars and, you know, you don't want to bring out a lot of real expensive stuff. You really don't, because anything can happen. When we do corporate events, you know, more upscale, then yeah, we'll bring the expensive stuff out, the elegance of it, you know. Let's see. I've got a question here with this Ibanez. That Ibanez have the and you know, I think these are called, God, quantum pickups. They are Ibanez. They are, you know, Ibanez brand pickups. Mounted directly to the body. 5-way switch. Which is real interesting. Might have to change the strings now. But anyways, so my bridge pickup, full on, you know, double coil. Here is my coil tap. Very Strat sounding. Here's in the middle, combining the two full humbuckers. Almost kind of like the Gibson tone, if you play the ES335, you know, or on the Les Paul. You get almost that sound, not exactly quite, but almost. And then this, it would be the coil split on the neck pickup, and then full on neck pickup. I kind of wish the neck pickup had a little bit more coil, but you know, it's not too bad. Michael B, what's happening, buddy? Been watching your stuff too, man. So I mean, these are just really stock pickups. Back in the day, I think, I want to say it was one of the dumbest things I've done, maybe, was when I took out my bridge pickup on my Ibanez Artist. It has the Super 88 Flying Fingers tri-sound. And I remember taking that pickup and looking at how much it was dipped and waxed, and just, I mean, that's when Ibanez does make great stuff. They really do. But of course the woods were more available back then, so no one was running around trying to shut each company down. You used a twig of popular wood, or used a twig of mahogany, and therefore we're going to sue you. You know, it's just a hairline twig. Now everyone's got to be hitting the panic button and things of that nature. But there's scarce of woodens. That's what's going on. But back then, I mean, everything was just primo. Man, but anyways, I took the pickup out and I stuck in a DiMaggio dual sound. And the dual sound DiMaggio pickup, at least back then, what it was like equivalent to the Super Distortion, but with coil tapping. And it was a great pickup, don't get me wrong. But I almost maybe devalued that guitar. And then, of course, I traded it in like a dummy. So, you know, that's another subject for another time. You notice I talk about it a lot because I do kick myself in the pants for that. But for the money, this guitar is great, man. I mean, you know, when you're doing anything rock-oriented or anything with excitement that you're going to have, you know, maybe stage presence or anything like that where you want to show you're getting into it. And I do love what I do, you know. You don't want to go out there with the most expensive, high-end, custom-made guitar, and next thing you know, boom, you one little dink and you have a heart attack. Old man Dan, what is happening? Good seeing you, buddy. Like your stuff too. I think you were jamming on that Brad Paisley Telecaster, and yeah, man, good playing, great sounding guitar. I think I'll put a comment that one of my for jazz chords, I do like the major seventh, minor seventh, dry heat 480. What's happening, man? Let's see if I get this tune. You know, there's nothing worse than it sounded. I agree with Ben Coombs 100%. When you hear it going out of tune, and boy, does it mess with you, man. It's definitely. I had that issue. You know what happened, Ben? I had that issue laying down the track, actually enhancing the track, because I laid down another guitar. I think we got Big Dan Hall out there too. What's happening? Big Dan Hall, how you doing, my friend? It's always a pleasure seeing you, man. But I was laying the guitar track down on Bad Company, and I was using the plexiglass with the chorus pedal, but the chorus in here is also known as like a doubler or a detune. But I laid that track down with another guitar, and then my third string was slightly off. And with that detune effect, it really stands out, you know. So I agree, and I thank Ben for calling that out, because yeah, because it's something that will definitely mess with you. But that was on, and if you use any type of modulating effect, or of course, what happens, it enhances that, and it just, yeah. And what's really cool, let's say I had to immediately do from that song and then go into something like this. Damn it, of course. But anyways, I like the major and minor sevenths chords as well as minor chords, you know. So yeah, before I'll get into what I'm using here, because I'm gonna spin this thing around so you guys can see what the back looks like. I was watching earlier, and now let me grab a little quick swig here of my cappuccino with the Lure Insurance Company from a nice German lady down here in Florida. I don't know if you guys ever heard this guy's channel, Robert's Guitar Dungeon. I really like his stuff, man. I really like his stuff. And what I like about him, he could also talk in perspective from retail, because he worked at a music store. And so he's got a lot of experience. Plus, what I like about him too, if you watch his videos, at the end, he's got in partnership with a thing called Share the Music. So if people have used gear and, you know, they can't sell it or whatever, it's donating it to this organization called Share the Music, because you do have people out there that would love to get involved in music, but they can't. You know, maybe they don't have the funds, maybe they're going through some hardships. Or like down here in Florida, when we have these hurricanes, and some of these people, their houses get totally destroyed. It's like they got to rebuild their whole life. You know, and like people down in Puerto Rico too. Anywhere down where there's any type of disaster could hit. And it doesn't have to necessarily be, you know, weather related. It could be health related. So the organization that Robert partnered with is I think is a great. Man, it's great. And then he also has a sponsor with, the picks. I can't remember what it is now, and I apologize. So if you see that, Robert, I really apologize about it. But it's like you never will lose grip of your pick. What I do like about Robert's Guitar Dungeon is that, you know, a lot of times it's just one camera. He sits there, he goes over his gear, and it's totally unbiased, you know. But today he loads up videos every Wednesday and Saturday. And he had on a video about, you know, which guitar should I buy. And I thought he nailed it. he really nailed it, you know, because it's such a tough decision to make. Um, and he has a Music Man John Petrucci guitar, nice one. I think it's called a rust finish, which is almost like a I want to say like a burnt orange, but it looks nice, man. It looks really nice. Great versatile guitar, man. Great guitar. But he also plays the Schecter. He's a big fan of the Schecter guitars. And I remember, and I'm sure there's a lot of you guys out there will remember Schecter when they used to just sell guitar parts. I used to see their ads in Guitar Player magazine back in high school. Late 70s, very early 1980s. And I would look and see, and I would wonder, geez, you know, why don't these guys just make their own guitars? You know, they got the parts. Well, eventually they did, and you get a lot of bang for your buck. So yeah, he was basically Metal X. Yeah, I have this. I saw that. That's Schecter 7-string. I had a student, Andrea, back up in Chicago, and she had a nice Les Paul studio, Gibson Les Paul studio, and then she had the Schecter 7-string. Next Through series, nice guitar, man, real nice guitar. So yeah, and I think now see what I like about Robert is that he tells people, you know, what his preference is, and it's that part of his is his opinion. But then when you get on stuff that's, you know, fact, you know, he'll say, well, these are basically the facts, you know. This is what this does, and you know, he'll keep his opinion to what he does. And him being I think he worked in sales. I think he would have been a great person to buy a guitar from because he keeps his opinions out of it, and here it is. You know, looks at what a person's wants and needs are, and that's why I respect him. Because when I was teaching up in Illinois, I would talk with the parents if they were going to think about buying their son or daughter a guitar, and they would say the best thing to do, you know, is work within your budget. And I would say, I know it'd be nice to surprise your son or daughter, and you know, so you know exactly what they want, and you want to surprise them with that, that's fine. But you know, if you're not sure, let them go to the store with you so they could actually pick the guitar up and play it and let it feel. And that's what Robert was talking about. You know, as far as the, you know, the cosmetics, or you know, yeah, the cosmetics, what it looks like, and he hit on so many points that I agree with, because I had a student that says, you know, if you do not like looking at the guitar, then let's say a different body design, but you're going to buy it because everyone else is telling you, yeah, you got to have this, but deep down you really don't like it, chances of you playing that guitar is slim to none. And so when you're only got a couple of bucks, you know, really look at what you could afford and what is your interest. And again, he used an example. If you got $500, boy, you get a lot of really good guitar for under 500 bucks. You know, with Epiphone, with Schecter, with Ibanez, with, you know, Fenders, Squires, you know, all this. And again, I would hear people telling me, Dave, yeah, but you don't understand, I play professionally. Well, so do I, you know. And yeah, but you don't understand the big stage. Yeah, that's fine. You could whatever you're gonna need to do for electronically, because it's always gonna be electronically buzzing and things of that nature, unless it's going out of tune. Well, that's something you should check before you even take it out. But if you could go out on stage with a $200 guitar, and I'm talking about on a tour, and you don't have tuning issues, maybe the sound is not comparable to, let's say, your $3,000 or $4,000 guitar, but there's something magical about what you're getting out of your tone here. Go out there and play. Because here's the magic with this, especially if you could play rock and metal, and it's high energy, and you're going to put on a show. Again, you know, people, you know, they do what they want, first and foremost. But you will feel really bad if you ding up a very expensive guitar. You're going to have a heart attack, you know. Then it will be a show, because here comes the paramedics with the defibrillators. Boom, clear, you know. So, yeah, it's Robert's Guitar Dungeon. Great guy. he also was demoing the TC Electronics, and I got the Echo Brain down here, and I'll basically show you real quick what I do with that, why I run it through the front of the amp. But now let me shift gears to this. When I was playing Saturday, we ran right into this Roland stereo portable PA speaker, and I'm gonna see if I can turn this. See if my hand covers everything. You see that? Okay. So if I spin this around, this is basically what this is: a simple 4-channel PA system. And you know what, guys? I think what I'm gonna do is I don't want to give people motion sickness, but I'm gonna see if I could zoom in on this without zooming in, if you know what I mean. So this is basically the back. And so here's my main, your main master volume and your master EQ. Your EQ is only a low and a high. That's it. And on these channels, you got a volume. You do have reverb, digital reverb, that you could go from hall reverb to plate reverb and little points in between. And you have a switch. Now, I'm on channel number 4, so I got my effect, which be my reverb. I have that off because I get my reverb from my Digitech. And I run my Digitech into my my looping pedals, and I create all my tracks right there. So I don't want my drums to have delay or anything like that on there. So that switches off, one volume and a tone, and that's it. And what's really cool with this, if you're gonna get your main EQ out of your effect unit, and if you have to run it through a powered PA, then you don't want to mess too much with, at least on your channel. Here are all my ins and outs. So that's my in. You could link it. You could like daisy chain all this. And this thing, excuse me, this thing will run on batteries, double A's, 8 double A's, and you get like 11 hours. And I believe I think I misread, or it was a misprint that said it was 300 watts. It was really more like 30 watts, but pretty loud. And it has basically 4 6-inch speakers in stereo. You got 2 here and a tweeter, and 2 here and a tweeter, and it's basically it. Now I'm gonna see if I could do this, guys, because my wife, she's much better at all this than I am. And let's see if we could do this. Will it turn? Yes. Okay. So basically, this is what I'm using for my effects. There's my Echo Brain. I don't have that plugged in. That's for my acoustic guitar. I actually have 4 of these looping pedals. I always have extra because I don't know what's happening with Digitech, and these are my main backing tracks right here. I don't use any computers because I'm not really computer savvy. Plus, I'm still old school, I can hit the switch, look, just like this, on a flash. There's my tracks. Boom, there's it off, you know what I mean? And, of course, there's the effect unit. And this extra switch, this is where I could go up or down, so that these, I could turn my effects on and off individually. And, of course, right there, I don't have that plugged in, but that's my Digitech drop pedal. So, it looks like it might be complicated, but it's very simple. I think American Devil's out there too. What's happening, buddy? So what I have here is really not that complicated at all. Hey, R2, R3, happy birthday, man. You know what? I apologize because I think, Brent Coombs, you had an earlier live chat honoring Mr. R2, R3, who just turned 21, right, R2? Okay, but if you gotta take off, enjoy the evening, R2. And happy birthday, man. So, getting back to this, it's not real complicated what I'm using. Now, there is a reason why I run this into a PA speaker as opposed to a guitar amp. Because when you can do anything with drums or like bass, because this Digitech has a bass pattern in here. Yes, 21, R2. I hear you, buddy. Go out to those Chicago bars if there's any of them left, man. Yeah, Ben, I am wearing socks and sandals in Florida, right? Hey, I'm still a northerner. It's it takes time to get used to, man. I'm sure up in Canada, when Ben, when you would hear anyone from Chicago, we do get some cold winters in Chicago and in Michigan, but you guys up in Canada, boy, woo! Canada's a beautiful country. How about it, Dad? We've been to Canada a few times. We done a birthday party. We drove up there from Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, and drove back down just to do a birthday party, a private function. But yeah, Canada, man, love Canada. But what I was gonna say, guys, is that's why I plug into a powered PA speaker, because I do stuff acoustically too, and it becomes such a big pain in the ass if you gotta drag an acoustic amp, a guitar amp, or this amp, or that, and half these places, they're on a tight budget themselves, and that's the reality. That is definitely reality. So now, here's my watch. But I always wear my watch so I could see my time when I have to watch my time, So that's really basically all I'm using. And okay, so I got my output going into the input here, output into the input there. Normally I'll just use the one, but I've been toggling back and forth, and I might just have this set up where I toggle back and forth, because the beginning of Saturday's gig that I did here was mostly with the guitar synthesizer. So I was able to lock something in here and then lock something in there while I toggle back and forth, which is, there's Foulfish. What's happening, my friend? So, yeah, I let me show you something with this Echo Brain. Okay, so let's see if I could get something going here, because I'm also holding the phone, right? So if I got something like that's basically, but normally what I'll do, rotating device lock. See, it's just all kind of things are popping up on my screen here. Let's see. It's locked. Can I unlock it? Okay. So something happened. Okay, there we go, guys. But that's basically what I'm using. And it's very simple. That pedal board, I've had that pedal board since early 2000s. Like maybe 2004 or something like that. And we actually have two of them. I have another one I could just, but they're huge, They take up a lot of room. Now, on this patch right here, I'm using more would be like a Fender Twin with an Ibanez, the Tube Screamer. So it's not that much of how can I say, distorted sound. It's more of a cleaner overdrive. When I'm doing anything that has like speed bursts, I really prefer boosting the mids and trying to make it as clear as possible. I like using the delay as well, but right there I just have reverb with my overdrive, and because I like the notes to ring out, something like this. That's cool. Or when I do volume swells, the delay does help. But something like that, I like the notes to really be able to, punch out. And then, of course, I'll have my setting for more of heavier distortion, Mr. David Enos. How are you, buddy? So, and again, you know, because I come from an era that we would always try to learn as many styles as possible, you know. That's what I do like about this guitar. It does have the versatility, and I personally like the way it looks, and it's very comfortable for me. Very, very comfortable. And I played a couple of Ibanez jazz guitars. I remember playing the Ibanez George Benson model, the first versions, the early versions, and wow, those guitars are great, you know, because they're not real super big like the old Gibsons. And I remember I did play a Gibson Howard Roberts Fusion. That was a little bit smaller bodied. Man, Gibson's had so many jazz style guitars that one day I'm gonna whip out my old Gibson book. Yeah. Hey, Jamie Garcia, how are you doing, my friend? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. You know, I want to thank all my subscribers, all of you guys. And we got new ones coming that's been subscribed. Really appreciate it, you know. And again, what I like to do and start doing more and more of is if anyone has original music, all you got to do, you could send me the link or you could just say, hey, Dave, you know, even on the comments, check out this video, you know. And that's all I really need. And boom, I could put it in my loop pedal and plug it through the PA and we're good to go, man. And here's the deal. I think our good friend up in Canada, another Canadian friend of ours, Guitar Hack, he's got something cool too. He did like after gig hangover. I like that. That is really cool. And he was talking about a situation that he had at a club where the club owner, he did the booking through the agent, and the agent told him what the battle plan was. So okay, we'll do 4 sets, and you know, a couple of 15-minute breaks. And when they were doing the breaks, all of a sudden the club owner says, "Oh no, keep playing," and I guess they started about a half hour later or something like that because people were eating and that. Here's the deal, what's happening out there, and everything is almost spontaneous. Ben Coombs, what, more than one guitar playing Canucks? Yep. Metal X, you rock too, my friend. All you guys rock out there. Everyone's got something really unique. You know, you ever notice that some people get frustrated because they feel like, oh man, I can't shred, or I can't. You don't have. The true terminology of virtuoso is someone that could play extremely well with what they do. And it doesn't say a virtuoso, a guy that could play a million, or a girl, play 1,000,000 miles a minute, they could sweep, and that's all nice. I'm not taking anything away from that. But that's not really what it really what virtuoso means. It's someone that could actually play extremely well. And we might start seeing more and more, or I could be wrong, but we might start seeing more and more people of having a combination of strong melodies with speed bursts and things of that nature, because after a while it just gets, you know, see, when you're young, you got all this energy, and I thank God I still have all this energy. I'll be approaching Sammy Hagar's Can't Drive 55 pretty soon. And I still feel like I'm 25, you know, my energy level, you know. But the body does tell you. And, you know, I remember a guy telling me this when I was, 19 or 20? When I really was, making these breakthroughs with my technique. Because I was practicing literally 8 to 10 hour days. And, you know, doing short sessions. And working on my technique on the acoustic as well as the electric. So that's why I could play fast on the acoustic. But also with my rhythms and my classical playing. And but this guy made this comment when I was at, I think, a Guitar Center on Milwaukee Avenue, back in Chicago. He seen me doing the shredding. More of like the fusion type, you know. And he said, yeah, man, you sound real good. Yeah. And he says, but you don't get good till about a good 20 years into your playing. And I thought, well, I got it. Look, I could play. I could do what I need to do. But now that 20 plus years, 30 years, and more passed, I know what he meant. Because he also meant what also makes a musician is life experiences. You bring all that. You will subconsciously play what you feel, if that makes sense. Especially if you're an instrumentalist, because you're not working on with vocals or anything like that. You're working with emotions. And yeah, it was interesting. Anyone try to play a PVHP tune yet? Oh, let's see, Mr. Coombs. They've been. I'll check that out. Craig, how you doing? I thought I saw your name, on the. See, again, guys, I do everything literally on the phone, off of the phone. So, and that's why I got my reading glasses on, because the type is like real tiny. I have to check into that. Oh, PV makes great products, man. PV's, PV is a smart guy. That's one guy. I've only been to one NAMM show, and I was actually in the Gibson booth. I was invited through a friend of mine. He played keyboards. Gibson came out with a guitar synth, and but my friend didn't play guitar. So he asked me, and so yeah, that'd be cool. And that's why I know about this situation with the Spotlight guitar, because it was the 1989 NAMM show, Chicago, Illinois, at McCormick Place. This comes from the year either 1987, 1988, and at the 1989 NAMM shows, on display was nothing more the Epiphone Les Pauls. And of course, and we're back, my friends. I think the reason why we get such dropouts, and I think you guys experience this too, is everyone's on YouTube, and I think they're just, with the guitar cord, the quarter-inch plugs, like the old phone. If you look back in the old movies, in a phone with a phone operator, they got to plug it in here, and they got to plug it in there, they got to plug it in there. I think, there's so much bandwidth that's being pulled. But anyways, I did not see any of the Gibson Epiphone Spotlight guitar. None of them. And they were going through a lawsuit. And, I will say as my educated guess, very strong educated guess, that, yeah, Paul Reed Smith, and if I'm wrong, hey, I apologize. But, think about it. Paul Reed Smith is coming out. Gibson decides to make a take on a guitar that's very similar to his, and he got his inspiration from another company, obviously, and he made it his own, and boom, it's his own. But that does look like a Paul Reed Smith. And here's the deal: when someone's gonna sue somebody, and the attorneys get in, Gibson is a huge company, big bucks. Lawyers go after the company with the bigger bucks. They know they're gonna win, So that's why. Because I do know for a fact, because I was in that Gibson booth the entire day, except for lunch. I went downstairs, get something to eat, and I ran to Robert Monroe Turner, which was Monroe Custom Guitars. And that's why I think I was in the PV booth real short and did a jam session, and I was playing with Adrian Vandenberg, and there's so many stars you meet there, But it was getting kind of boring. For me, at least. It was a great experience. But yeah, the Spotlight guitar, nowhere. Yank 'em. Yeah, Gibson would have won regardless. Yeah, can't copyright a body shape, only the headstock. Now, Ben Coombs, that's interesting. That's real interesting. And I think the whole deal with this, the Carlos Santana model is, it's not like this, but it's almost, it could be kind of borderline. And maybe it was a situation where Gibson said, okay, that's the CEO that we had, the current CEO, he stepped in, I think in the mid 1980s. So again, 1989 is not very far from 1986, and the ball is rolling, and he probably figures, okay, got many ideas here with the company. Let's just say, okay, you win, screw it, right? Because it becomes a big headache, man, big headache. And when you got a huge corporation and you got a smart lawyer from a guy that's up and coming, and they could kind of battle it out, no one wants that. It's like, okay, it stops production, it gets in the way, can't concentrate, can't think, can't sleep at night, walk away from it, That's my educated guess on it. But I do know for a fact I was there, and those guitars were nowhere on that floor. Nowhere. So, but that's just how that is. That's why Ibanez, when that was going on with Ibanez, there is a video. His name is Mike. His last name starts with an S. And, but he said, after that was going on with the lawsuit, Gibson suing Ibanez, Ibanez said to them, they regrouped, they probably got in the boardroom, which was probably, could have been somebody's house, which is a lot of times that's what happens, to save on money. They probably got together and says, okay guys, and we're back again, my friends. Anyone here try the Ocean 11 pedal? If so, what did you like? I heard of the Ocean 11 pedal. I have to kind of do research. Okay, $999 for a PVUSA arch top. That came from Custom Shop. Yeah, you know what? That is cheap. What I was going to say, that's why I went on this whole tangent. Okay, I want to kind of go back in some of the chats. Yeah, Paul Reed Smith could have sued just to get his name out there. Yeah, he was at the time. You're right, Ben. Yeah, he was pretty unknown at the time. I cannot remember. I thought he said he approached. Oh, I can't remember who he said he approached first. Oh, God. This is what happens. You start getting older, you start forgetting names, Oh, God. But anyway, I'll think of it, 3:30 in the morning, and I'll get it on YouTube and go live, right? But, and then, he also approached Carlos Santana and a few other guys. And Al Di Meola definitely was one of them. And he started getting the ball rolling. But you're right, yeah. To get his name out there, it doesn't really take much, if you think about it. If you have a known company either going to endorse you or going to sue you, you got that known company. That's, boom. Dave Byron said he used the Ibanez, and all of a sudden, and I'm not saying Ibanez is going to come after me or anything like that. I think Ibanez they're a great company. But, they could say this, that, and the other, and, But then they'll always associate me with that. You know what I mean? Or I do get associated, I notice, I use Digitech, so people might think I'm endorsed by. I'm not endorsed by anybody. And I'll tell you what I like about that. I mean, I'm not going to turn it down, put it that way. If Ibanez would say, Dave, we kind of like what you're doing. We'd like to use you, and, you might be on the very bottom of the list. Your name might be the very last one. Hey, that's fine. I'm not going to go begging. I put it this way. I wouldn't mind approaching them and say, hey, I'm using your guitars already, so you don't have to give me anything and make anything special. But if you want to put my name in your part of credits, that could kind of help me out too, as well. And then again, you don't have to give me stuff for free. And when we can afford it, we get our money to buy something, and we just, buy it. Because you see, when you buy something. Sorry guys, we dropped out and we're back again. What I was going to say is, when you buy something, you really do show that company that you like them, you respect them, because every single dollar that comes out of your pocket goes to them. It does help the company. I'm not. I've had some friends that they felt that they should have gotten an endorsement deal, and they're good guys, but they kind of got disappointed that they did not get an endorsement deal, and they felt that maybe they should because I'm out there playing, I'm using your stuff, and maybe you shouldn't. No, that's not how it works. It's nice if they want to do that. That's up to that company. But you got to remember, every time you walk into your shop and you put that light switch on, boom, there's the electric bill. So what really helps is if you help support that company, and then one hand washes the other, right? Now, another company that I really think is great is Peavey. And my wife, she met Miss Deb. You met Hartley Peavey, right? Yeah. My wife's been to a lot of NAMM shows out in Anaheim. Back then, late 80s, early 1990s, it was like $2,500 to rent the booth. $2,500 to rent the booth, my friends. And she's got a picture with Mr. Peavey and his late wife. She had real long hair. But what's cool with Peavey, he always said he's for the working musician, and he doesn't want to overprice his stuff. And over the years, Peavey became one of the strongest voices in modern metal. And boy, I'll tell you what, if you go back to even 1985, and you were to tell me back then, or tell any of my friends back then, oh, Mr. Sean Murphy, good seeing you, buddy. But if you were to go on and tell anybody that in the future, Peavey will almost surpass Marshall, or will surpass Marshall as far as the voice of metal, you'd get laughed at. And I love Marshall amps. Nothing, don't get me wrong. But because Peavey was known for, not making such good stuff as far as sound-wise, but you want to talk about reliable? The Peavey never broke down. Never. You'd have to drop it, and then it'll break down, right? So, but yeah, so now getting back with mentioning other people out there in the YouTube land. So yeah, Robert's Guitar Dungeons, great videos he's got. There was a guy, and he's out there. He goes by the name of Circular Tone, German guy, and he had something on about what could help stir up the interest with guitar again. He mentioned about doing stuff like a live, almost like what Michael B had mentioned about a live jam on the internet. And of course, they would have to bring up the bandwidth speed so there's no latencies or anything like that. And him and some other people had these articles about his, Guitar Dead. And I know what he meant. Guitar really will not be 100% gone. It will shift. The world of classical guitar, that keeps growing. And classical music in general will always be around because you will always have major corporations sponsor, like symphonies. They will definitely sponsor and keep it alive. And there's another guy that had a thing on is rock the new jazz. And as we all get older, we still love our rock and metal and all of that, but we start to look at it from a different perspective. And there is definitely opportunities out there where you can do a corporate gig. And this is where the perception of the electric guitar and the loud amp is like, oh, I can't take it. I hate metal, right? But then if you do something acoustically, all of a sudden it's like, hey, I know that song. That sounds pretty cool. I've done a couple of corporate events. Well, I've also done with the electric guitar. And, basically, but the amp's not real loud. And what happens is, okay, that's tolerable. Because everyone's been getting older and things have been shifting. And this is what I want to get back on track with Circle of Tone. He definitely has nailed a lot of the statements. And this goes in conjunction with Phil McKnight when he mentioned about amplifiers. Phil McKnight also said something about a research in the electric guitar again, but now the amplifier department might be going down a little bit. Circle of Tone mentioned something, and I'm glad he did. You have DJs out now. Plus, it's tougher, and I'm glad that Circle of Tone mentioned this. Nine Phantoms, what's happening, man? It is getting tougher to do cover music. Oh yeah, Metal X, my album sales are horrible. I don't want to say that. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Okay, but here's something you might because you're not gigging anymore, which you might want to consider, and maybe everyone. When I did that gig out Saturday, it's in our house. We have they call it a lanai down here. It's like a porch, but Anyways, so we got our lights out and that. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with a person, even if it's in your room, putting on a show. Make that your concert. Yeah, it's a freebie, but let me tell you something. There's a lot of freebies out in the gigging world. The pay scale diminishes. And you might start to see some interest. This right here, this platform, YouTube, can be our lifeline and our savings grace from what is happening out there. When we can do this, and I'm still going out and checking out some of the shopping for gigs, try to record it. I want to be as respectful to the club owners as possible, so that you save gas and money too. Yeah, Ben Coombs, you certainly do. Because one of your most major pieces of gear, besides your guitar, which Robert Guitar Dungeon did say, it's very personal because you're actually touching it, But one of your major pieces of gear is your car. You have to get from point A to point B to get to that gig. And like Guitar Hack said in his live chat on Sunday, he didn't get stiff, but that happens out there too. But everything gets switched around because the club owner says, "Oh, no one's dancing. Now people are dancing. Here, hurry up! You're taking your break, and maybe you got a hot dog or some hamburger, and it's hanging out of your mouth. And you're the singer, by the way. You got a couple of fries, and come on, let's go. The people on the dance floor, they want you to sing again. Come on, let's go. And here you are, food's coming out of your mouth, and you're choking, because you got the bum's rush, I call it, because people are so panic-stricken. They feel they're going to lose a customer or something. You're going to win some of the customers. You're going to lose some customers. They're going to come and they're going to go. But this is what is happening out there in the gigging world. We don't want loud amplifiers. You notice the stages have shrunken down to a platform. And sometimes there's not even a stage. And we still want you to do all those really cool sounds. But we're going to stick you in this corner with your foot space is maybe 3 feet. And that's it. So what happens is, but then we still want you to move around, Dave, right? Put on a show. But now you're like this. You're like this, and you could barely move. Because if you go like this, you whack somebody in the head. If you go like that, you knock a drink out of the waitress's hand as she walks by. This is what's really happening out there. And Circle of Tone was touching on this great diminishing. He mentioned about speed metal bands have gone away. And no one's using real amps and no real drummers out there, and yeah, it is sad for that whole era, because just because rap is popular doesn't mean there's nobody out there that doesn't like metal. Of course there is. And when he mentioned about big corporations and that, well, what happened? I know what I now I'm really starting to see exactly what Circular Tone is really touching on, and he's right, man. Um, they all jumped the bandwagon, and let's say rap is big now. The music industry wants to grab it and make people, you know, and you guys out there, if you want to make it in music, shave your head, put a baseball cap on, get the big maybe emblem on there and start rapping, and we'll make you a star. But if you come out with one of these, we don't want nothing to do with you. It is kind of sad because you get these people jumping these bandwagons, and then this is really what's happened. So that, in conjunction with the sizes of the stages shrinking in the clubs, this is why guitar amplifiers. You don't walk in a Guitar Center anymore and see a row of Marshall stacks like you used to, or a Mesa Boogie half stacks. I remember those days. You walk in, you see stacks, and it's because everything is shifted, everything is changing. So the manufacturers are like, okay, now what are we going to do? And then they kind of put themselves in a situation that every year they want to outdo themselves. You could only do that for so long. That's why Mr. Peavy was smart, because he saw this, and of course he makes PA systems, and I think this is what eventually what some of the amplifier manufacturers might have to start to look into, is for them to get their versions of I think it's called the amp plugins. I'm really kind of stupid with this computer stuff, but I think Marshall should come out with their, and then I'm not saying do not come out with your line of amplifiers, because that's what you're known for, but why should brand X come out with a Marshall plugin that simulated the Plexi, Marshall Plexi, when Marshall could come out with the Plexi because Marshall invented the Plexi, right? Or Fender come out with the Fender Twin. And maybe that's exactly what they're doing with their modeling amps. So, that's why you've been seeing this stuff, because this is the future. You take the SB, or is it UBS? I don't know what the hell. The computer cable, and there you go. And I think that's what's needed until something could turn around, and it might take time for things to turn around. But I could tell you right now from first-hand experience what's going on out there, as well as Ben Coombs, he's gigging, Guitar Hack, he's gigging, Shane from In the Blues, he gigs. I know there's quite a few other people that are out there gigging. You know what's happening. The pay is less, and they want you to play longer sets. Don't take a break. Now, if you don't sing, you could a lot of times notice I don't take a break. And the main reason why I don't take a break is once I take that break and I get something in me, man, I like to hang out with people, So once I'm in that zone, I kind of like to stay in that zone and just get through the gig, and I improvise a lot. So that's why I do that. I barely gigs this year. It sucks. Yeah, Ben, it's real sad, man. There's a guy down here I was talking to, down here in Florida. And, matter of fact, one of the places I play out, in Cape Coral. And he's got a good cover band, real good, and they're tight. And he tells me, Dave, I don't understand. I'm trying to get in on the festivals. What, am I not good enough? I'm trying to think, maybe I'm not good enough. Yeah, maybe I need to do this. And I said, no, you are good. It isn't you. It's them. It's these promoters or these people that, the good ones will be always straightforward and upfront with you. They will always, because they do not want to ruin their reputation, but they don't want to give false promises either. But you get a lot of phony blonies out there that hang on to yesterday, and they see themselves sinking, and that's why those are the only people at that moment in time and that mindset. I think they're useless, absolutely useless. They are contributing to this downfall. As I had a guy literally sit across his desk when I'm trying to sell RUI, our duo, our small band, and Mike. I love working with my vocalist Mike. He's great. He's so easy to work with. And you know, it's like, to me, it's like I could improvise with him. I could do whatever, you know, because he's that good. And the first impression I showed off of my phone, one of the videos, the guy was like, "Oh yeah," you know, he thought it was cool. But then right away he wanted to stick me in another band that is neat, looking for guitars, and I do appreciate his offer and you know him seeing that, and you know, so I'm not gonna say anything bad about that. But I'm there to try to sell our duo, even if he has to put me on. If he tells me, Dave, you know, the year 2021, we got a slot open because we're saturated down here. That's fine. I appreciate it. That's okay. No problem. But it's like 1.5 hour talking with this guy of nothing but negative coming out of his mouth. And I'm thinking, oh, this guy's, there's no way I want to work with this guy. And then to buy anything from him, I mean, how stupid is this? Shoot you down. It's like any of you guys. You go into a music store and they happen to have an opening. Let's say there's an event, a festival coming on, and they tell you, see, if they don't like your music, that's fine. I don't take it personal, but just don't BS me. And this guy, it was nothing but BS coming out of his mouth, and I was calling him out on it, face to face. And it's something that was needed. It really was something needed. Now, I do respect the fact that he's been in business for a long time and his hard work. I respect that. But I also respect all you people out there that work 50, 40, 50 plus hours, and you want to see your friend's band play, and then you want to have an opportunity to play. And if I was a promoter, how bad would that be of me to say, nope, you guys can't do this because you're playing a Fender instead of an Ibanez. Yes, yeah, you're playing. How stupid is that, you know? Or to say, no, they want a full band. That was what the guy told me. They. And I said, who's they? I bring this up because this is what is happening out there. This is part of the contribution of a downfall in the interest of music, of live music. So when I was talking with the guy, he says, Dave, I can't get in the festival. What is it? It's not you. You didn't fail. These people are being biased. They're the ones that's failing everybody. Now, it's not everybody, because you do have some good people out there. You really do. But these people, and then this guy starts to bellyache because Guitar Center is taking business away from him. I'm thinking to myself, well, dude, you're going to have competition. When you go in business, everything's fair game. And I felt like telling him, I didn't think quick enough to tell this guy that. But if I would have, I probably would have said, well, when you started out your business, you were somebody else's competitor. That's how it is. But what really saves a company is how, if you got something unique to that town that all the big chain stores don't have, then you could use that for your benefit. Plus, you know how hard it is getting gigs, but be upfront with people. So, and I hear these stories down here with some of the band, you know, guys working at the music store telling me these stories, and then from what I've ran into too. And I would think, well, why would I want to be a booking agent, let's say, and then close the doors on everybody and only have a few friends play over and over and over and over and over and over and over again? I mean, and then you get some good people. Doesn't it kind of make sense to cycle things a little bit, give everyone a fair shot? And then let's say the money's not there like it used to. When you sit down with the band, you say, look, guys, this is what's going on. There's not that much money, but there will be an opportunity for you to play, for you to spotlight. You want to do some originals, go for it. If you have merchandise to sell, go for it. Let's try to help build this music scene back. The ball might take a long time to start to get rolling again, but if nobody takes that step and everyone complains, nothing happens. And that's why I become so vocal about it, because I really feel it's worth saving. It really is worth giving it a shot, you know. And I tell you, I know that I might, with some of these people, I might be shooting myself in my own foot, but I'm not just out for myself. I'm out because I love the music scene, you know, and I think it's worth it. So then they don't, maybe they do understand. I see, it sounds almost like I'm mixed up with this statement, but I'm not, because what I'm really repeating a conversation I had with a guy that actually owns a music store, and he's telling me this. So you tell me one thing, but yet, how are you going to get product to move out of your store if you do not help the locals and say, look, guys, let's have a local band fest? To hell with the big, and I'm not saying this in a bad, disrespectful way, but we don't have the budget for the big superstars. But we have something we could help the community, and bring all the local bands together. You know, especially when you live in a state that's a tourist state. And then they might say, well, you know, Dave, we already do that. You don't do it enough, because there's a lot of complaining about it. I could see if it's just a couple of people, you know, but when it's more, way more than a couple of people complaining, then there's an issue, and it's worth giving it a shot, you know. So that's why I say some of the things I say, because I deal with these people. I love dealing with them face to face. I really don't like doing this too much if I don't have to, you know. Doing it like this, you know, a lot of, like, Ben's in Canada, and you know, the rest of you guys, I really don't know where you live. You know, it's not like you live down the street and we can get together and round table, you know, bust out the coffee and the donuts and the beer and whatever else, you know. So this we have to do. But when I could meet with these people face to face, and I listen to some of the stuff that they say, and I look and I see how the area is starting to grow, and I'm thinking, and then they turn around their belly and go, they're stealing business away from me. They're not stealing business away from me. You're actually helping by turning business away. But they don't want to hear it. And I know some of them, they do not like when I say that. But sometimes you have to hear it, because that helps a person wake up, you know. Sometimes we all need a good swift kick in our pants to, like, whoa, what was I thinking, you know. But Circle of Tone was touching on that. And I'm glad he did, because the other thing with the... let's see, I live in Indiana, however, I am going to Florida. Oh, okay. Yeah, Metal X. In Florida, it is a nice state. That's why we moved down here. You know, it's a no state income tax. You do have the tourists. You have a lot of senior citizen population too down here, and it's real nice. And the winters, man, are great. You know, winters are just awesome down here. And for this guy to think the way he's thinking, I hope he could start to reflect on the things he had said and start to take notice. And if he could just kind of pull himself out of that, and man, he could bring a ton of business to his shop. He could get people to say, hey, this guy's cool. You know, sometimes you have to go out there and you've got to get a little day job to help support your business, your company. Then go ahead and do it. Don't be shameful about it. There's nothing worse than seeing it just go completely down the toilet and then do nothing but complain, when the solution is that maybe you do have to cut back on what you're going to put in your pocket to help save that business. I don't know. It's just something that I've noticed, and it's everywhere. It really is everywhere, you know. And then with rap being shoved, you know, and I'm not trying to knock rap, because, you know, music is music, you know. There is a lot of good people out there that their intention is good, you know. Everything becomes opinionated, you know. But when a certain style of music is overly imposing itself on people, then it's like, okay, you know. But that would help the amplifier. Kind of a twofold, catch-22. Manufacturers, which I know a lot of them have. That's why you see all these modeling amps. You know, Fender Mustang, the PV Viper, the Marshall Code. Now, whether they're going to work great with a full band, the best way to do that, when you go to Guitar Center, hey, you got the drum room right there. Can I take this amp in the drum room? You're the guy. There's no one in the drum department buying anything. Get on the drums. Let's see what this thing really could do. That'll give you an idea what it's going to do. And then if you got someone in the bass department, hey, bring that bass amp over. Let's crank it up. You know. And let's see what it could do, at least right here and right now, you know. It's something that would be worth trying, you know. But there's a reason why all that came up, because there's a huge decline once again. So yeah, it was cool seeing that, and again, that's why I'll use the stuff that I use, because of the situations that I'm in. It works for me. It might not work for everybody, but I've been able to take gear that's relatively inexpensive, and if you want to solely look at it from making money off of it, making it, because making it is going to be part of making money, right? I've had no problems with this stuff, no problems at all, and it's kind of cool when you could spend a little bit of money and then you get a lot of money coming back. It really is. That's when you come out ahead of the game. I minus the mistakes by hanging out and hanging around with people that were just not conducive to help my career, and that's my fault. Minus that, we would do everything that we were supposed to do, and we saw a huge loss. When I met my wife and we decided to turn it into an actual company where we're incorporated, and we don't need those people, then that's when I started seeing money coming in, to the point where now we're not in the red, we're in the black, we're making money. And it was taking all these different avenues, music-wise, and we were able to the point where even after we sold our businesses, in the early stages, yeah, our companies, our construction companies was funding our road shows. But then after the housing market crashed and we, sold the companies, then we were able to do 100% on music. And so the music was floating us. And we were doing road shows. We were doing a lot of road shows. And we started to become the people that we needed to know. You know how they say, well, it's not always what you know, it's who you know? Well, the people who you need to know are the people with money. So if you have that money and you budget yourself out right, you can turn a profit. You'll have times, you will have moments where it'll be like this and it'll come up. It'll be like this, it'll go up. It'll go back and forth. That's why, again, you'll also notice me talk about the backup system, how important that is, because this is a fluctuating income. And anyone who has done it 100%, where both you and your spouse, 100%, your bills are being paid with music, performance, and teaching. It has its high moments, and it has its low moments, and you gotta be prepared for those low moments. And I've had friends, when we were younger, when you're like young and in your 20s, that you do have time on your side. You have that luxury. But you start getting in your 30s, late 30s, 40s, especially your 50s, thank God I'm healthy, but that does not change my age. That doesn't change the fact that I thank God I can fall back on something that's totally not music related at all, but it is solid income. I could live, I could survive, and I could take my savings and fund my music like that. You know what I mean? To the point where I won't, I'm not saying it's not nice having those people to help you, because there's a lot of good people out there. But let's say they run out of money and you just quit. Let's say you had a really good job and you decide to take that gamble. When you're young, you can. When you get older, be very careful. Very, very careful. Because if you have to go back out and fill out job applications, and that's when you find out there is age discrimination out there. There really is. They'll do it under the table, and there's, they're not going to tell you that. Of course they're not going to say that to you. But they do. And the fact of the matter is, every time 1 week without a paycheck turns into 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, because you're like, what's his name, Uncle Eddie from the Griswolds, he's driving around in that RV because he's holding out for that management position. 7 years. You know, when weeks turn into months and months turn into years and there's no income, yeah. I know. Okay, so we got some good chats here with the PV products. Yeah, you know, PV, when he came out with the 5150 and the first versions of the Wolfgang, when he partnered up with Eddie Van Halen, I think that did help PV. But that helped boost faster. But I do want to say I think PV was on that. He was definitely on his way. You know, even if he had no major artist endorsement, I think he was definitely on his way because he's an incredibly smart guy. He survived because of him. You know, so. And again, that's why with Ibanez. Ibanez is a guitar company that never faded off. They never. Whether you like the company or not, they've gone through different shape changes and things like that, but they've never visibly vanished from the music scene. You know, other companies have, and it's because financial situations. You know, see, again, it all comes down to money. My wife, she nailed it when a friend of mine asked us, you know, what is it that's with this industry? It's only the music industry. It's all like weird, you know. What is it? What is it? My wife said, money. If you have money, you could buy your way through. If you have, you know, 150 million bucks, tax free. You know, you won 300 million. You paid Uncle Sam what he needs, and you got, you know, 150 million, and you want to be on Super Bowl. Hey, you talk to the right people, but this will do a lot of talking because everybody's got bills to pay. Everybody. One of the gigs we played at was many functions we do, a fundraiser, where I didn't notice. I mean, I had an idea, but because I don't follow sports so much, I'm sitting, I'm playing, and this old guy's talking with me, real nice guy, very nice guy. And we're in his house, in this huge mansion, and that's the servants' quarters. His house is even huger. He walks away, and I said, "Oh, thank you so much, sir. Yeah, it's a nice event. This is a beautiful place, and yeah, he's complimenting my guitar playing. And yeah, you're a nice young man. Thank you so much, sir." He walks away. Another guy comes up to me and says, "You know who that guy is?" No, I said, "But he's a nice guy. That's the owner of the Indiana Colts." So it's like, wow, that's cool. So there is good people out there. And, but I'll get these gigs, and I don't realize it because what happens is we get so many of these gigs, I have to constantly, when I'm done with one gig, I have to forecast what the next gig is going to be. So it's like you become engulfed in your craft, in your business, because you have a service and you're getting hired. And that's one way, man, you could really go far with this industry through these so-called different channels other than chasing the stars. And there's nothing wrong with chasing the stars and that. So, and that's why I appreciate all you guys out there. That's why when I get my laptop and I'm able to do hosting the Hangouts, it's going to start with you guys out there. Joe Wench, Ben Coombs, Jim Dietrich, Adam EVH, all you guys out there. Every single one of you out there. Because I really believe in helping the people that really deserve it. You know, people that are the fans, the guitar fans. You know, all of you guys. You helped me with my channel. I really believe in fairness. That's why I like to spotlight people's music at my gigs, because they are listening out there. I do get good feedback. So, anyways, guys, I think I'm going to be losing my signal pretty soon, probably for tonight, because that's just how it is down here. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. You guys are huge. I'm a fan of all you guys. I really am, because without you guys, we wouldn't have this. So I want to leave you with one of those bad boys, with this. This is Rockin' Dave, always desiring to inspire, like Ben Coom says, hold open the doors of opportunities, my friends, because it really, I do believe in karma, because it really is true. Till next video, we'll be back on Saturday at 1 o'clock. And go ahead, subscribe to everybody. Thank you so much for subscribing. Check out everyone's channel. Support everybody. And till Saturday, take care and God bless. Rock and roll, my friends. We will see you Saturday. Take care. Have a good night now. Bye-bye.